Hey guys, YouTuber 100 here. Alright, and now here I am continuing with these reviews where I picked for the top 10 best animated DreamWorks movies. And now here I am to give my thoughts on the Kung Fu Panda sequels. So, yeah, as of right now there have been 2 sequels to Kung Fu Panda. And, yeah, both of these movies are, just like the first film, they are really, really good. Yeah. There are some people that have said that as these films have gone on, the films have got better and better. But I'm not really sure. It's hard for me to really say which one I think is the best, because all 3 are just really like so good. And I mean, I really don't know how I can really rank these films from worst to best, because all 3 really are just like so good. But yeah, these sequels, they definitely are like really good movies. And yeah, they actually do like continue the story from like the first film. Like Kung Fu Panda 2 actually does actually continue the story from the first film, and Kung Fu Panda 3 does continue the story from the second film. So yeah, that's something that I really do like about them, how they actually do all connect and continue the same story. Because there are some sequels that really can just like be absolutely different from their previous film and just have a completely different story altogether and really not have much connection at all. But these films actually do continue the story from each of the other films. So yeah, that's something that I really do like about them. Alright, and so yeah, here I'm just gonna give my thoughts on both of the sequels so far. Starting with Kung Fu Panda 2, I mean, I do think that this is a pretty good movie. I mean, yeah, this film, like I said, it does continue the story from the second film. I mean, from the first film, yeah. And, yeah, in this film you do have, like, a lot of, like, pretty much everybody from the first film returning. You still have, like, Jack Black, Angelina Jolie, Dustin Hoffman, Seth Rogen, and Lucy Liu, David Cross, and James Hong and Jackie Chan, all reprising their roles. And you also do have a lot of new voice actors in this film. Like, this film definitely has a larger cast than the first film does. In this film, you have newcomers like Gary Oldman, Michelle Yeoh, Danny McBride, Dennis Haysbert, Jean-Claude Van Damme, and Victor Garber. So yeah, this film definitely does have a larger voice cast of characters and a much bigger set of characters than the first film does. And yeah, in this film, this kind of, like I said before, it advances the story from the first film. Yeah, in this film, like, you have, like, in this film, like, there's this, like, evil peacock, Lord Shen, and he is, like, a really good villain. And he, like, has these plans to, like, conquer China with, like, this real powerful weapon that he has. And so, yeah, basically in this film, like, they are, like, battling with the Lord Shen and throughout the film, yeah. And also in this film, you do have, like, this other story with, like, Po kind of learning the truth about his past and learning that he really was adopted, and it turns out, like, Lord Shen was actually involved with, like, how Po really did get into the position that he ended up being in. So, yeah, but those are really, like, the 2 main stories in this film. And, yeah, the stories are really told really well. Like, Lord Shen is, like, of course, like part of a peacock clan, and he, like, is ruling a Gongman city in ancient China. And then, and after, like, he ends up, like, learning that there's a warrior of black and white that can defeat him if he won't change his ways. He then, like, decides to, like lead an army of wolves to exterminate the panda population and stuff. And then yeah, Shen ended up being, like, exiled by his parents. After they were, like, really horrified by what he had done. Yeah. Yeah. And of course, like, Po is, like, living his like, of course, like, Po is still, like, the dragon warrior now, and yeah, he is, like, now, like, protecting the Valley of Peace with, like, the with the Furious Five and like a lot of his other like kung fu math, along with like his other friends and stuff. Yeah, and yeah, but he eventually ends up like learning that he doesn't really have inner peace yet. Yeah, yeah, and after like they end up like defending like a village from like these wolf bandits. Poe eventually like ended up being like distracted by like the symbol on like Shen's I mean yeah Shen's armor. Like he like that caused him to like have a flashback of like his biological mother, and like all the flashbacks of like Poe has in this film of like his biological parents and stuff, they those things are like hand drawn animated rather than the CG animated. So I kind of did question why they had the flashbacks be like hand drawn animation, but yeah, it was really no big deal. It's just like something that I've always wondered. Yeah, and yeah, then like eventually like Mr. Ping ended up revealing to Poe that that he was actually found by Ping in like a radish crate, and then that's when like Mr. Ping adopted him. And yeah, and yeah, it just showed that like, uh, Shifu like ended up like killing the leader of one of the leader of the Kung Fu Council, the Thundering Rhino, and yeah, he had the plan to like conquer China with his new cannon. Yeah. Yeah, and then yeah, Poe and the Furious Five ended up being sent to Gongman City to try to stop Shen and destroy the cannon, and yeah. And then yeah, once they arrived in the city, they like ended up like finding it like completely occupied with Shen's forces, and yeah, they and like eventually were just like trying to like help to liberate the city and stuff. Yeah. And then yeah, they eventually ended up being captured by Shen and brought into his tower, but they ended up like freeing themselves, and they eventually did destroy the cannon. And yeah, throughout this film, then like I suppose just continued to have like all those flashbacks and stuff. Yeah, yeah, and yeah, sometimes like the flashbacks ended up like like causing them to fail to like stop Shen, and he ended up like escaping a bunch of times. Yeah, yeah, and yeah, eventually like Poe like ended up like being blasted out of the factory with a cannon, and he fell into a river, and he was presumed dead, but he ended up being survived, and yeah, a soothsayer rescued him, and yeah, he eventually like was brought to the ruins of the village that Poe was actually born in and stuff. Yeah, yeah, and as the soothsayer was like guiding Poe to try to like embrace his past, he like remembered that when he was an infant that his parents ended up like sacrificing themselves to save him from Shen's army. And his mother actually had hid him in the radish crate, and Shen's forces were lured away from him. And eventually, yeah, Poe ended up like returning to the Gongman City, to save the Furious Five and to stop like Shen from taking over China and stuff. Yeah, and then yeah, like Shen's army and the Furious Five like ended up like battling with each other. Yeah, and then yeah, during the battle, like Poe like was using his inner peace movements to redirect the cannonballs of Shen's, and then yeah, he ended up like destroying the Armada. Yeah, yeah, and then yeah, Poe was then like urging Shen that he needs to let go of his past, but then like Shen ended up like attacking Poe, but then like the ropes that were like holding up Shen's last cannon, like the ropes ended up being like slashed, and the cannon ended up falling on top of him, and then yeah, Shen ended up being like crushed to death while the ship like exploded, and then yeah, after that, yeah, Poe and ended up like returning to the Valley of Peace and reunited with his father. Yeah, and then like the movie ended with like showing that Poe's birth father was like revealed to survive of that attack, and he was like living in a far off hidden village that was also like populated by other surviving pandas. And then like he sensed that his son was still alive, and yeah, this would like transition over to the third film. So yeah, overall the second film is a pretty good film overall. Yeah, and then yeah, the third film, Kung Fu Panda 3. Yeah, this one's also really good too. Yeah, yeah, I just said like with that cliffhanger for Kung Fu Panda 2, it carried over to this film. Yeah, the third film was kind of like, yeah, the third film was like, yeah, it continued the story once again, and yeah, this is where like Poe is reunited with his biological father, and yeah, he was then like brought into that panda village, and then, but yeah, this is like ends up seeing that like Poe's biological father, Lee, he was like telling him that he has to learn to master the use of chi. And so yeah, he was like bringing Poe to the village to learn chi, but then like it's eventually like revealed that Lee really doesn't know how to really do chi. And so yeah, Poe's biological father Lee, like he ends up like coming across as kind of a liar, but then like it ends up like changing later on, and they end up learning chi and stuff. Yeah. In this film, uh, the villain is a kind of like a spirit warrior Kai, and he's like a yak or something. Yeah, he's a yak, and yeah, he was actually like the brother in arms of Oogway. Hey, yeah, and yeah, he's like has this ability to actually steal chi from other warriors and stuff. And so yeah, basically in this film, like it of course like shows like Poe like reuniting with kind of his own kind, and also like they are like doing battle with Kai, and yeah, Poe like eventually like ends up forming the army of pandas to battle like Kai and his minions and stuff, and Poe really needs to become like of course a master of chi in order to stop him. And so yeah, that was really what this film is about. Yeah, yeah. In this film, like Shifu like ends up like retiring from his teaching, and then yeah, Poe ends up like being passed the role of the kung fu teacher. Yeah, yeah. And as Poe like becomes the teacher, he like eventually like realizes that it's really not as easy as he thinks to really teach kung fu. And yeah, the Furious Five like end up being injured because Poe had such a hard time teaching it. Yeah, and Poe just like felt that he was really being a failure, and he was starting to really wonder who he really was. Yeah, yeah. And then, yeah, once Poe returned home, he then like ended up meeting another panda, Yi Shan, and of course it was eventually revealed that Lee was a Poe's biological father. And yeah, they ended up like bonding with each other, reuniting. But of course, like Mr. Ping really like felt jealous that Poe was now with his real father and stuff. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then yeah, it was then like showing then like how Poe was introducing Lee to like Master Shifu and his other friends and stuff, and then eventually like they learn about what Kai has done. After like Kai created some zombies, zombies to go after the Valley of Peace, and then and they learned that they had to defeat Kai, but of course like Po had to learn to master Chi in order to stop him. And yeah, Chi was of course like a ability that was utilized by like ancient pandas and stuff. And yeah, Lee like offered to teach Po the Chi that he needed to learn, and he brought Po back to the village where the other pandas were. And then yeah, Po like ended up like being like reunited with like other pandas and stuff, and yeah, the other members of the Furious Five ended up like staying behind trying to deal with Kai. Yeah. But yeah, Mr. Ping ended up like following the pandas because he still wanted to like have a connection with Po and Oh and stuff. Yeah. And yeah, Po of course like wanted to learn the Chi, but Lee like was telling him that he has to learn the relaxed life of Panda in the village first. So yeah, he was basically like trying to like stall to not teach Po Chai since he didn't know it. Yeah. Yeah. And then yeah, like it was showing then that Kai was just taking the chi of basically every kung fu master in China, which included the Furious Five members except for Tigress. Yes, yeah, and yeah, the pandas were eventually warned of Kai's intentions to take their own chi. And then yeah, Lee and the other pandas were like starting to run away in fear. They were preparing to do that. And when Po finally was just demanding to his real father to teach him the use of chi, that's when Lee then confessed that he really didn't know how about chi, and he just was fearing to lose Po again. And so then, and yeah, Po was just hurt over all that misdirection, and then yeah, Mr. Ping then like knew like Po really was happier with his biological father in his life, and then yeah, he just then like encouraged Lee and the pandas that they should stay and have Po train them to fight back. And then yeah, that's when like Po then like wanted to redeem himself, because of like what he was doing before caused him to fail. And yeah, Po then ended up like teaching them chi with their by using like their everyday activities. Yeah. And eventually like Kai arrived in the village, and then yeah, his zombies were sent to like try to capture Po. But yeah, the other pandas ended up holding them off along with like Ping and Tigress. Yeah. Yeah, and then yeah, Po was like trying to use like his finger hold on Kai to try to send him back to the spirit realm he came from. But yeah, it was like revealed by Kai that that could only work on mortals and not spirit warriors like him. And then yeah, Kai then ended up like fighting with Po, and then yeah, Kai was like getting the upper hand, but then Po used like the finger hold again on himself. And then and as he was gripping Kai, and then yeah, they both ended up like were transported to the spirit realm, and they were continuing to fight. Right, but then yeah, the other pandas, along with like Lee and Tigress and Mr. Ping and stuff, they ended up like using their own chi to like empower Po, and then yeah, Po then like he finally did realize who he really was, and then he like of course like ended up like mastering the chi, and then he harnessed all the chi to like make this huge dragon, to like overload Kai, and then yeah, cause him to explode and destroy him, and then yeah, like all the masters were then like just restored back to their normal state. Yeah. And yeah, as it ended, like it showed them like Oogway like appearing in like a golden pond, and he just told Po that as the Dragon Warrior, his journey really did come full circle, and he was now declared. Po was declared like his true successor now. And then yeah, it just then showed Po wielding like this yin yang staff that was bestowed by Uguay to return back to his mortal world, and then yeah, like the entire family then ended up like returning to the valley, and yeah, Po was just continuing to teach them kung fu and chi, along with the help of the Furious Five, and so yeah, they just continued to learn all their kung fu and chi. So yeah, that's how that one ended. So yeah, both of these sequels, they definitely are really good. Like I said before, it's hard for me to really choose like decide whether they are really better than the first, because I think all three are just like really so good. It's hard to really rank them for how good they are from best to worst or worst to best or anything. So yeah, it's really hard for me to say which one is really the best of the three. But yeah, all three films really are really good, and these are definitely like very worthy sequels. They definitely do like live up to the first film. Like they definitely are like worthy sequels. So yeah, I would definitely recommend both of these sequels. Like the Kung Fu Panda movies are probably like the best DreamWorks series out of them all, because yeah, like with the other DreamWorks sequels, like some of them like really don't turn out very good, or like really not as good. Like it's easy to kind of like rank the other like DreamWorks film series from like best to worst, because yeah, it's kind of easy to like pinpoint like how good they are from the best to the worst and stuff. But yeah, this one is like really hard. So yeah, I think this is probably DreamWorks' best film series out of all of them in terms of like good movies and stuff. So yeah, definitely like these films are definitely recommended if you haven't seen them before. A lot of you probably have, but if you haven't, they're definitely worth checking out. So yeah, that's the best way I can really put it. So yeah, these films are just like really good, and these are definitely like very worthy sequels. So yeah, that's all I can really say about it. They're just really good. All right, so yeah, so those are my thoughts on the Kung Fu Panda sequels. They are definitely like very good, worthy sequels. So yeah, these are just like really great films, as I've already said. And yeah, who knows? They may make a Kung Fu Panda 4 sometime in the future. Who knows? I mean, I guess maybe like they could do another one with like the entire Panda uh, group now like all being masters of kung fu and stuff, or like being better at fighting with it and chi and stuff. I guess we'll just see in the future if they do ever make another Kung Fu Panda sequel. Well, yeah. Yeah, well, yeah, it's saying that, like, there is, like, a possibility of a fourth film. Like, on Wikipedia, it says, like, the co-director of this film, it's one at a time, we want to make this a perfect jewel, and then we'll see what happens after that. And then, yeah, the other co-director said, with the sequels, we don't want to try to have them feel open-ended. We want it to feel like a completed journey. And we feel this movie does. And then, if a fantastic story presents itself, great. So, yeah, I guess, like, it's open for another sequel. It's not been confirmed yet, but yeah, if they do, they do, and if they don't, they don't. I guess this is like a fine way to end it. So yeah, I guess we're just gonna have to see if they decide to make another sequel in the future. But as far as like the films that we got now, they definitely are really good. So yeah, definitely worth checking out. All right, so yeah, those are my thoughts on the Kung Fu Panda sequels. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.